Greetings, gamers! Welcome to part number 49 of my Let's Play Fire Emblem 4 Genealogy of the Holy War, and I am still in Chapter 7. Just now about to receive yet another unit. I just need to move Seliph away from the castle, and immediately enter with Ares. Lean, where are you? Answer me.
Ares.
Oh, is everything okay, Lean?
No, it's not. But someone from the Liberation Army rescued me, and I knew you'd come, Ares.
Lean, I beg your forgiveness. I was a fool, so very, very foolish. I should have heeded your word.
It's okay. After all, you're here now.
I swear to you, I'll never let this happen again.
And I swear I'll try and keep my big mouth to myself from now on. Don't ever leave me again, Ares.
Alright. Now I can move Ares right here and discuss my very new character, Lean. She is a dancer. You know, actually, can't I reset that and go and do the arena? I think I can. I'm going to go ahead and reset that before I speak about Lean. This might be a little bit crazy, but I'm pretty sure I can go back into the castle with good old Ares and finish the arena before I continue on this fight. Alright, so let's test my theory, and yes, I was right. So, obviously I'm going to go into the arena. First and foremost, though, do I have any things that I can buy for him? Weapons of the like? So, I don't really think any of these would be good purchases here. I do have a slim sword in here. So, I actually think that a slim sword is like the best secondary kind of sword he could have. And it isn't just because it shares a similar color to the Mistleton, though I do like my similarities and, you know, other things of that nature, but just because the slim sword is probably the best all-around like weak sword just to have because it weighs so little, has so much hit, so on and so forth. And of course, I'm just fighting like a fighter right now. The Mistleton is something that you should only use in the arena if you need to use it in the arena. Otherwise, I would strongly recommend using the slim sword. There's probably going to come moments where I'm going to need the Mistleton though. And a pretty fantastic level up. He would have loved to have speed, but he did not have speed. Nice fighting, mate. Here's your reward. Only 1,000 gold. Time to move on to rank number 2. Otsman, the mage with thunder. I think this should also be a relatively easy fight. So, Ares is actually a really good combatively viable unit from the get-go, even without the Mistleton. So having the Mistleton makes him pretty fantastic. I wouldn't say he's anywhere near as good as Shannon with the Balmung at start, but he can get up there pretty quick. This should be a relatively easy fight, yeah. Since Ares is doubling. Not only is he doubling, but he also just had way more hit. That's another thing about the slim sword. It almost says, who cares about the weapon triangle disadvantage from lances? Manstein with the iron sword. I should double here. If I double, this should be a victory. Yeah, and I will. Definite victory. In fact, I think he would have only done like 4 damage to Ares, which is kind of funny. So, just HP and strength. Not great, but he's pretty much going to always get strength. You kind of want him to get speed. His growth rates, like I said before, are, in my humble opinion, better. I'm going to use the Mistleton here. Are better than Seliph. But Seliph just has a earlier start and access to better weaponry at the start. The Mistleton is kind of hard to judge, right? Every holy weapon in this game is fantastic, but also they have the downside of being so very expensive that even if you're avidly going through the arena, you have to be kind of careful, especially with the early game of particular units, like Ares. Ares wants the Paragon Band at some point during this generation, so that he can make sure that he gets to the point where he's promoted, so on and so forth, and he's like viably doing good against all of the enemies, including the bosses. He's one of your better boss killers, especially in the late game, because of the fact that he gets a plus 10 resistance. But, okay, I'm gonna also use the Mistleton here. So the issue is that you kind of want to be careful how many times you use the Mistleton, and preserve it for the fights you need it for the early game at least. Later on, after he's promoted, he doesn't really care. He can just basically use the Mistleton, unless you want to use something ranged or whatever. Very decent level up, especially the speed, definitely necessary there. And he was able to very easily finish the arena. I'm not repairing the Mistleton. I'll repair the Slim Sword, though. Okay, now I can move over here, and now I can talk about Lean, the dancer. She is the daughter of Sylvia and Claude. Now, she's always the daughter of Sylvia, just like I've said before. Most, if not all, pairings in this particular gen, or in this game, the father is changeable, and this is part of the reason behind the design, right? The fathers are all better characters in both the first and second generations. The men are just stronger, more capable warriors, because this game was made during a time where people still had the fundamental concepts of right and wrong, and men as fighters and warriors and soldiers and the like, knights and so on and so forth, especially during the romanticized medieval European times, are just more capable. If this wasn't romanticized, if this game was just straight up medieval, that's the reason why whenever you play a game like Elden Ring or whatever that's trying to like say it's like super gripping, like immersive medieval, it's not, because you can play as females. There are no female warriors in medieval Europe. I just hate to burst your bubbles. Even in Scandinavia, where everybody's like, well, what about the Valkyries? Okay, they're supportive. It would basically be like they were healers of a sort, but not really healers, because that really doesn't exist, right? Lean is your dancer. She is one of the best units in the entire game, especially in Gen 2. I think you need a dancer in Gen 2 more than you do in Gen 1, especially if you're going to do my strategy, in which you give her the leg ring and the night ring off rip, because that means that Seliph is not going to have it at all. You're never going to give these items to somebody else, ever, because you would never get them back on Lean, ever. It's just not happening. You would have to waste so much time and tedium in order to make sure that she not only gives it to somebody else, but takes it back. Or, in the case of having Seliph start with these two items, or at least even just one of these items, it's going to take a lot of resources and a lot of time, and again, like I said, tedium, to get these resources back in Lean's hands. Especially if you had given them both to your dancer in the previous generation. It's just not viable. So you have to make your choice. You have to make a choice. And it's either you get both of them on Sylvia and pass them both down to Lean, or you just give them to whoever you want in the first generation and then eventually get them on Lean later on. Some people just keep the leg ring on Seliph if you start the second generation with the leg ring on Seliph. I think that's actually pretty viable. In fact, if I was going to be honest here, if you're not doing my strategy with Lean and her pairing and inheritance from Sylvia, with the leg ring and the night ring, that is, I would say that it's just far and away better to let it go and keep the leg ring on Seliph, because then he makes very good use of it, especially in the early game. But once he promotes, he's got 12 movement without Rhodes boosting that. And Rhodes boost by 30%, so that means he has 16 movement on Rhodes. That's insanity. If you use the rescue staff, which arguably is stronger at times than just dancing, now if you combo them, it is incredible. But arguably it's sometimes stronger than just dancing, because of positional ability to basically give somebody even more movement than a dance would. But that's why I said if you combo them, it's insane. Um, you don't really need her in the late game of Gen 2. I think she's more valuable in Gen 2 because of the maps and the size and my strategy. But in the late game of Gen 2, I think she drops off harder than Sylvia does because there's just there's no point in Gen 1 where Sylvia is not useful. There's just none. Granted, like I said, because of my strategy, she's never falling off, even when I do get the rescue staff, because Seliph is not going to have the leg ring. Now, she comes with a base stat of 26 HP and 85% HP growth, 3 base strength, 15% strength growth, 2 base magic, 50% magic growth, 2 base skill, 20% skill growth, 8 base speed, 25% speed growth, 8 base luck, 55% luck growth, 1 base defense, and 20% defense growth, and 7 base resistance and 65% resistance growth. She's actually pretty fantastic in my humble opinion concerning her growth. You would think, well, wait a minute, Gamer Man, she only has a 15% strength growth. I'm never going to use this character in arena or combat. What she has is a very high resistance growth, and she has a very high magic growth. So if you wanted, you could give her like a magic sword. Now, I'm not even going to do that. But what she really needs is resistance growth, honestly. That's her most important stat. She's going to have the shield ring, so she's always going to have, some level of defense, and as long as she has HP, which she will get because she has an 85% HP growth, she's going to be tanky. She's never going to die from a single hit to anything magical once she gets to a certain point. Even stuff like Mjolnir from a capped out unit. It's just not going to KO her. Now, I'm never going to put her in that range. She's never going to fight somebody who has Mjolnir, but I'm just saying. Also, let alone the fact that I do intend on getting her other weapon that she can get in this particular chapter that only she can acquire, and that is from the village I left over by Leonster, which is... I passed it up. I keep passing it up. Right here. So this village has the barrier sword. So the barrier sword, what's cool about that is it's +7 resistance. This is very useful, and it's not only useful on Lean, it's useful on other units. Now I'm going to be keeping it on Lean because grand scheme of things, nobody else really needs it, but it can be pretty darn clutch, especially in the arena for like miracle cheesing with certain of your units, or for just like surviving certain fights. The shield ring or the shield sword is not as powerful, but what's crazy is that the shield sword and barrier sword stack with the shield ring and barrier ring. So you could have potentially a +12 defense or resistance at any particular time with a unit like this. What's cool is, like, let's say you do want to raise her combatively. You can attack with the shield ring, or the shield sword, I should say, on player phase. And if you have the night ring, you can equip her the barrier ring if she's going to take magical damage on the next turn, which is pretty darn good. And dancers in this game have the amazing ability of always refreshing 4 units adjacent to the dancer, which is insane. It's kind of more necessary in this game than it is in pretty much every other game in which it's involved. So the only other games that I can think of that have dancers this power are Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, and only under specific niche and certain circumstances, unless you're playing with Raphael in Radiant Dawn. And I don't think in either of those games you need a dancer that can refresh for 4. I really don't. So when you do use that unit, it's one of the reasons why I don't particularly stress, especially in Path of Radiance, having somebody like Rayson transform or wasting a turn on like Lagoo's gems or this, that, or the other, unless my strategy really calls for it. It's not really that necessary because those maps are small, much smaller than this. Most of the time you can just solo certain parts of the game with a single unit. You can't really do that in this game. There's plenty of people who will tell you that you can solo this game, and you probably can with an extreme amount of tedium. And I mean extreme amount of tedium, but I don't really care for that. So she comes with major braggy holy blood. So she is the daughter of Claude and Sylvia, which one of them has major, one of them has minor holy blood, so she's guaranteed major, even though her brother has major and can use the Valkyrie staff. She can't use anything of the sort. She only has C rank and staves. I gave her the leg ring and the night ring because they combo together very well. She has a talk with Seliph. I don't think that this is necessary. I guess I could check it out. I don't know if I have any other particularly important talks. Dermot and Nana, I want to say that is important. I think that gives Nana some stats. I don't think anybody else on here gives stats, and I am strongly recommending that unless you're going to pair Tinny with Seliph, that you do not talk with this conversation, because that will give lover points. I think this one gives lover points too. I'm not sure. I'm not particularly going to pair anybody with Seliph, because Seliph is not... He always needs to be moving towards the seas. So that just means he's not going to be paired, unfortunately. C rank in swords, she has 9 movement because of the beautiful, wonderful leg ring. 2,840 funds, which is nothing, but neither her mother or father had funds to speak of because they were both pretty much broke. Couldn't go through the arena, so whatever. She has adept, so she can strike twice if she has higher attack speed. She has dance, and she has miracle, so she has everything that she needs to become a potentially good and viable combative unit, but she's not likely going to. So I'm just going to wait right here and talk.
Mr. Seliph, right? Nice to meet you.
Hello. And who are you?
I'm Lean, the dancer.
You're Lean?
Oh, Mr. Seliph, is this the first time you've seen a dancer?
Yes, miss.
That's adorable.
Yeah, I don't know what that conversation does, other than, cutesy little talk. I'm going to be pairing these two because they have a very fast lover growth. And keep on moving. Dermot absolutely needs to come back and talk to Nana. So I want to make sure I do that. Where can you move to? I want to make sure I move in such a way that everything is A-okay with my units. These two are going to be dealing with the enemies over here very shortly. Ulster. Yeah, so the rest of my units here are kind of no import in this particular fight. I'm going to move... Where is Dermot anyway? Alright, Dermot's here. Yeah, so maybe I do move back Lana. Her healing here is of no import as well. Yeah, so the thing is that I need Dermot to talk with Nana because of that stat buff. Everybody else just needs to run. And get ready for pairing, because there's going to be a lot of turns in this chapter that I'm going to be pairing before it's able to be ended. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that Seliph has a long way to get to Ulster. In fact, I think what's going to end up happening is that Lean is going to potentially be able to reach the village before... Okay, these guys are coming down, so actually it is important that I do have some units over here to fight. But yeah, Lean is going to most likely be able to reach that village before Seliph reaches the good old castle of Ulster to seize it. Alright, these yahoos are getting ready to fight. I don't know who I'm going to use to fight them. Alright, so I'll put you here. And you here. And it is time to dance. Yeah, so Lean's dancing is really powerful and always useful, especially in this current circumstance and situation where okay, Fee's not missing any health, I don't think. I guess some experience points for Arthur wouldn't be bad. Yeah, especially because of Seliph not having the leg ring. It's just very useful for this chapter. Alright, a good dodge. That's exactly what I needed there, but he also didn't KO. So I think what I'll do is I'll give this to Fee with the Brave Lance, just because I think that a little bit extra crit on this weapon is going to turn out very well. What's cool, too, about Fee having the Brave Lance is that as I've given it a lot of crit now, it already has plus 10, so she has a 20% chance to crit. The cool thing is that I'm going to be able to trade that with any other unit that can use lances, and with that in mind, that means that I will be able to effectively crit with lances, the Brave Lance, in the arena as well, which is very nice. Alright. Lester needs to hurry up and reach Julia. I think they're capable of pairing. I still actually don't know. I tried looking it up and could not find it for the life of me, whether or not she is capable of pairing with him. So that could end up being like a little bit of a bust, I guess you could say, but I don't really care. Wait, and Dermot's going to talk to Nana. Excuse me, you wouldn't happen to be Nana, would you?
I am, and you are?
Perfect. I finally found you. I'm your brother, Dermot.
Huh? What are you talking about?
I didn't know until just now either. King Lewin told me everything. In the war 17 years ago, I was with the kids who fled to Isaac. But you were born after our mother, Rakesis, went to Leonster instead.
You're my brother? Then where's Mother now?
Where's Mother? What exactly are you getting at here, Nana?
I haven't seen her in so long. When I was around 3 years old, she left us and traveled alone to Isaac to try and find you. She never came back. I've waited to see her again for years.
She did, but I never saw her.
You didn't? Then where is she?
The Yi Desert. It's a treacherous place. Very few lone travelers survive it.
No. Oh, Mother.
Okay, so she only gets luck +1. That's not a big deal. It does help, I suppose you could say, because luck isn't as useful as I thought it was originally in this particular game. But it's, again, it's not a huge deal. That's everybody moved who is of import, so I'm going to keep on moving. These guys will be met with some harsh combat very soon. I was thinking about potentially giving them all to Julia. I don't think she needs it, but I was thinking about it. Alright, Celis phase. And I'm going to keep on moving you. Brother and sister can wait. Aw, Dermot can't reach his newfound love yet, unfortunately. Oifi can also get ready for the upcoming battle. The rest of my units are just going to keep on moving, because I would like some experience points on some of them. Some of these units are kind of pointless to be moved, like Nana and Leaf. There's just actually no reason for me to move them. But it's not like it's really hurting anything for me to do so. Alright. Move you there. Tenny can just wait. I have no purpose in using that unit, unfortunately for her. And Dance for Ares. These two must pair. So while I'm moving her all the way over yonder, she's basically going to be defended by good old... who do I want to fight this guy with? Basically going to be defended by good old Ares. Alright. Wow, she didn't proc anything there. Crazy. And the very next turn, I am going to be attacking. I'm probably going to go after the fight with the good old Mjolnir Bloom. I think he is going to find that Arthur is going to be quite a difficult battle. So one of the things about Bloom, one of the reasons why his Mjolnir and his particular magical might isn't so high is so that you can deal with him. Imagine if he did have 60 attack damage. Arthur wouldn't be able to fight him. Even with the weapon triangle advantage, the problem is that Mjolnir is still going to have a reasonable amount of hit because of all the skill it provides. And it's just one of these things where it's like, it's kind of like Mjolnir and Forseti cancel each other out because of the way that they both work, the weapon triangle as well as like the bonuses that each one of them grants. So it's actually, I personally find that very interesting. I enjoy that that's the case. Let's see, how well does this go? Yeah, so actually not very well. I'm gonna wait on that. All right. And a good old dance for Seliph. Seliph is going to be able to move yet again. It's, like I've said before, it's unnecessary for Seliph to necessarily fight every single boss of every single castle. So in this case, it's not really that big a deal that he's not going to be able to reach the castle in time for the fight, per se. It would still be nice, though. If he could have got the experience points. But I think I'll just move on. Alright, Lester. The Arthur Tinney. All of these folks don't need to move, but I can put Arthur in the range of this boss. Let's see, what skills does he have? Just Pavis, so I don't really have any threat here. He can't crit or anything of that nature. Even if I miss, it's not going to be the biggest of deals. I can just heal him up next turn. And that's going to be the end of my turn there. Alright, so this is actually going to be pretty easy to wall off. I could probably have just a couple of units go within the choke point and finish off all of these units next chapter, or next turn.
And what are you? Wait, could it be?
Bloom, I've awaited years for this moment. You took my mother and sister from me, and today you'll finally pay.
Gah, impudent whelp, just try me.
Alright, so likely I'm going to get hit here. Ooh, you know what I just realized? Yeah.
How could I lose?
Because you procced Arthur's ability to crit. You've put him under wrath. I totally forgot about that. I know that's kind of a silly thing to forget about, but as long as Arthur can survive a round of combat with Bloom, and he gets taken down below half health, which he's going to, Arthur will not have enough resistance to avoid being taken down to below half health at this point. He just gets a guaranteed crit on Bloom. You just have to pray that Pavis doesn't work with its 25% chance. And that's amazing.
I've no choice. For now, I must retreat to Connaught.
A pretty fair amount of experience points. Nice. HP +2. And of course, he's going to teleport out of here. Right here you can move. Yeah, so she can reach, but she won't be within pairing distance of Ares. Unfortunately. Not the biggest of deals, but it's whatever. These particular units are never joining the fray. Just way too far back. Alright, so this is the hard decision here. Basically what I want to do. I kind of want to just heal up Arthur here. Yeah, no one can reach. Ulster and Larse can get out of the way. I think I will put Johan right here. And put the rest of my units around. For the next turn. And that is the end of my turn. Cool. Alright, so they're moving around here. I don't like this, and I would rather it be a different way, but that's one of the reasons why I moved some of my units, like, on the bottom of the castle. However, I think this will be a perfect opportunity for me to bid my farewells. I want to thank you for joining me. If you like my content, please upvote and follow, or like and subscribe, depending on your platform of choice. Leave a comment down below, and while you're at it, have a great and glorious day gaming.